metal, so he's going to need to talk to his sponsors about a little help.
Not much sheet metal left on that race car.
Meanwhile, Quarterly and Layton continue to battle. Dale, a former AMA Superbike racer, picked up his first AMA National Superbike win as a privateer racing at Kawasaki over at Mid-Ohio.
Not many guys was very successful doing motorcycles without factory support.
And I happened to be there that day, and let me tell you, the party in Victory Lane was a pretty big one. Everybody came out to congratulate Dale on that, because it is a massive accomplishment when you can stop the factory efforts. Oh, and Layton is off course.
I think Quarterly maybe has Brad Layton what we call overdriving your race car, and that's something you cannot do at a road course. A lot of times slowing down and smoother is much faster than overdriving it.
So Brad Layton has to gather up the car and himself to find that rhythm once again. Stay with us. We're coming back to Watkins Glen. More Busch North.
If you want the benefits of refinancing, you have no choice but to stress over a long application, right? Wrong. AmeriQuest Mortgage gives you a choice and a personal loan advisor to handle just about everything. With 2 decades of experience, AmeriQuest knows how to offer you the no-stress home loan. The time is right, so call AmeriQuest now at 1-800-287-1803. Or go to yourmore.com. Call AmeriQuest, the company that knows you are more.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth, winner of the Monte Carlo 400, and you're watching NASCAR on Speed.
Attention, people without dental insurance. Now you too can save money whenever you visit the dentist with the People's Dental Plan. This discount plan saves you from 20 to 50% or more on virtually all dental procedures, guaranteed. You'll save on cleanings, root canals, braces, fillings, x-rays, crowns, dentures, and so much more at almost 20,000 locations nationwide. There are no claim forms. Just show your card for on-the-spot savings whenever you go to the dentist. This affordable plan costs less than $10 a month and covers your whole family, so it could more than pay for itself your very first visit. But as a special offer, call now and pay just $4.95 for the first month, a savings of $5 off the regular price. There are no limits on use or on how much you can save. So save from 20 to 50% or more on virtually all dental procedures, guaranteed. Get the People's Dental Plan today.
Call 1-800-348-3300 for free information on the People's Dental Plan. Call now.
It's the Little Trees 150 presented by Pepsi here today as Speed Channel continues to cover the NASCAR Touring Divisions this year. That is your race leader in the 54, Paul Wolf out of Milford, New York. Scott Products, Hines back to Chevy.
He's leading the race, but just remember, he still has to make a pit stop, and he's going to have to make it here pretty soon.
We've seen just about everybody else already on pit road. Some taking advantage of yellow flag situations and pitting early, maybe too early, and most of the top runners all pitting on a green. Boy, you get that rear wheel up in the air, didn't you?
He's hitting what we call the rumple strips there on the inside and outside of the inner loop. This is a tricky corner right here. You see this is the rear of the car sliding around. It's a hard right-hand corner, but it's a long sweeping corner and actually goes downhill to some degree.
High up in the RPMs here, as Larry was talking about earlier, in third gear.
This car really looks like it's handling good. Remember, he has quite a number of laps on these tires here right now, but there wasn't a big concern about this Goodyear bias tire. See, Dale Shaw in a 60 car, he's made repairs to his oil line that he had problems with, and he looks like he's going to go back out on the racetrack trying to make as many laps as he can, earn as many points as he can.
It's amazing with that much fire underneath the car that you don't burn off belts and everything else. Is that other stuff you have to check? Or?
Oh, I mean, you have to look at anything and everything under that hood. I mean, even simple little things like the brake duct hoses that cool the brakes could have been burned.
Here's a battle a little deeper in the pack. In that battle, in the middle, is Bennett in the 4 car. The 77 is Brian Wall. We've seen him on pit road already.
It's Andy Santerre right there in the 44 car, leading this group.
We haven't had a chance to talk much about the driver of the Les Care Kitchen Chevrolet, but Andy is always a top contender when the Busch North Series hits the racetrack.
But he's been having problems with his brakes all weekend. In fact, they changed the complete brake package out on that race car this morning, put a bigger brake package. Even though you have long straightaways here, as you mentioned earlier, Ralph, you use the brakes a lot, especially at the end of these long straightaways into turn 1 and into that inner loop. And that can be a little tricky on a driver if you give him a whole complete different brake feel headed into the race without any practice.
And we saw the 77 of Wall getting around Bennett for the position, and the leader is on pit road. Paul Wolf brings the 54 Chevy down on pit road and into his pit box. The crew is over the wall and already servicing him. Let's head downstairs. Here's Matt Yoakum for the call to stop.
Two-tire change in the 54 car, but there's trouble on the left rear. Something wrong with the air gun. They're going to lose a lot of time. The leader, one of the last, lap 30, one of the last guys to hit pit road, but trouble on pit road is going to cost him dearly in track position. Finally, he's away.
And Matt, that's one of the things that we talked about, this one pit stop, you can't have any mistakes. And what you saw, it's just like Winston Cup pit rules. You can only use 2 air wrenches. If one fails, you only have 1 air wrench. That's the reason the front tire changer had to go back there and finish what the rear tire changer couldn't complete with his air gun being broken. A lot of time cost for this guy on pit road.
There's the number 30, Dennis Doyle, who should be now making his way to pit road here pretty soon. Yes, he dives down onto pit road. One of the last top runners,
one of the last cars
to
to come to pit road.
Doyle out of Plymouth, Connecticut, the Stay Right Water Systems, Monte Carlo.
35 miles an hour, and this is a long pit road. That alone can take forever without the pit stop.
His crew is ready. Wolf is getting back up to speed.
Again, with the lead that he had, with 2.5 miles around this racetrack, and it taking almost 1 minute and 20-something seconds, he's still on the lead lap, but he lost a lot of ground to those other guys.
He's closing in on Bennett. Well, he likes getting up on those rumble strips, doesn't he?
He's using all the racetrack, absolutely. But right now, to make up some of that lost ground, he has to use all the racetrack.
You see coming back out onto the racetrack. Yeah, he's going to make that corner a little bit tougher for Wolf. And the battle between Wall and Santerre continues.
Andy Santerre with 2 wins this year, and I mentioned earlier, two-time winner of this race, and last year Tom Carey, driving Andy Santerre's car, won this race, so this race team certainly knows how to win here.
Saw Kelly Moore's beaten and battered 47 back out on the racetrack. Kelly was involved in that first lap incident. There's the 45 of Brian Hoare in the red car, chasing the blue 78 of Rick Bell, the Evans engine cooling Pontiac. That is the only Pontiac in the entire field here today. Let's go down to Matt Yoakum with the potential for a black flag.
Throughout, the situation has gone from bad to worse for Paul Wolf in the 54 car. Speeding on exit of pit road, he will now have to do a drive-through penalty. Drive at pit road speed the length of pit road. So now his chances for victory have taken a huge, huge hit.
And just remember, this is the new penalty rule for speeding on pit road, whether it's coming in or going out under green. All this was stimulated from way back at Las Vegas with the problem with Sterling Marlin on pit road. Now, if you exceed the speed limit of 35 coming in or going out of pit road, what you have to do is the next time by, just drive through. You don't have to stop in your pits or anything, maintaining that pit road speed of 35 miles an hour. But this is really going to cost. He needs several caution laps to catch him back up.
You talked about how long pit road is here, 35 miles an hour. Boy, that's a long way.
Like you're barely moving, especially when you have to do it twice.
So Wolf trying to get something positive headed his way. We'll take a quick break and come right back.
Introducing the 2003 Mercury Marauder. 302 horsepower, 4 doors, no nonsense. Mercury Marauder. Make room for it.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? Now, through Matrix Direct, a 35-year-old man could get $250,000 coverage for less than $15 a month, guaranteed for 10 years from Protective Life Insurance Company. A 40-year-old man could get $250,000 coverage for less than $17 a month. Call for a fast, free quote over the phone. Matrix Direct, 1-800-390-3016.
Property owners, if weeds and brush are taking over your property, call 1-800-946-6161 for free details of the amazing DR Field and Brush Mower. The DR works like a big tractor-mounted brush mower, but in a walk-behind version that's easier to handle and a lot less expensive. So if parts of your land are too overgrown for any ordinary mower, call now for free details about the amazing DR Field and Brush Mower.
How bad have you got it?
There's a good look at the countryside surrounding Watkins Glen International Raceway, and you can see a lot of it from this racetrack because the track is high up on a hill and you can look down into the valley. It's very pretty here.
Oh, it's beautiful. What we call the Finger Lake region.
These guys have their fingers gripping the steering wheel right now. The 78 machine of Rick Bell, the blue car, holding on to the slot over Brian Orr. And Orr has really been working the backside in that red number 45.
He's been working it for several laps. Talked about the 78 car being the only Pontiac in the field. Oh, we got a car upside down. This is in the S's again.
The 86 car, Dennis Demers. And look at the guardrail.
I mean, he has definitely hit that guardrail hard. But the good thing about it, remember, guardrail moves. It absorbs some of the energy. Guardrail will tear a race car up, but it definitely takes some of the energy away from when that race car hits it.
Dennis Demers out of Shelburne, Vermont, the Wheelan Shelburne Limestone-backed Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Wow.
That was a hard hit. Talked about Dennis earlier. I talked to him this morning. He owns that Lime Rock quarry. He just enjoys racing. He loves racing the Busch North Series. There you see him.
He's out of the car. Oh, that's great news.
Yes, it is.
Dennis Demers, there you see him unzipping the fire suit.
Remember, the Busch North drivers, you have to use all of the same things that Winston Cup and Busch drivers have to use. They have to use a head and neck restraint device, so all of the safety things. And there you see they're going to display the red flag again. I'm sure it's to repair that guardrail over there that's been tore up so bad by Dennis Demers.
Look at the front of that car. He stuffed that left front right into the guardrail, Larry, and it looks like it just ripped it open like a can opener.
But that race car, when you see him standing by the guardrail, that race car, as we say, did its job.
Wow. Well, the field is under a red flag condition again. We're coming back.
Well, it's nice to see you all. It really, really is. Isn't it, honey?
Oh, yes. We must do this more often.
Uh-huh. Thanks for coming.
Where will you find the money to pay for long-term care? Conseco long-term care insurance protects you so you don't lose your nest egg. Conseco, step up.
Thanks to the latest breakthroughs in hair loss technology, it's impossible to tell who is a Hair Club client and who's not. Call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB now and get the latest hair loss update free. Hair Club has been helping millions of people get educated on hair loss and what options actually work. So who is a Hair Club client?
I am.
Call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB for the answers to thinning hair.
Winner of the Monte Carlo 400, and you're watching NASCAR on Speed.
Well, the cars are parked once again on the racetrack, a red flag condition. The drivers have climbed out of the cars to cool off a little bit. Here's we're racing in August in Watkins, Glen. Oh, some of the kids helping out, handing over some drinks.
That was Carrie Heath. She was handling a drink of water too. The only female in the race today.
There's a driver tip for you. Help cool you down. Good spot for a lemonade stand. And that is why we're under a red flag condition. A large section of guardrail just ripped apart as Dennis Demers took his number 86 into the guardrail in the S's. And boy, the crew over there right away trying to replace guardrail.
Looked like they were well prepared, knowing that this could be a possibility.
Well, the field is moving again. And there is Demers' car. Matt?
Well, Dennis Demers has walked back to the garage area. What happened, Dennis?
The left front tire failed, and, you know, just at an inopportune time, and wasn't much you could do but go straight at that point, and that's where the car went. And knew it was going to get in the guardrails pretty good, and those things, they kind of, you don't bounce off them, you know, you just get kind of tangled up into them, so. But and then it flipped over, and then I had a hard time getting out of the car, but the rescue workers are right there, which was a real pleasure to see them coming. So, but we're okay. Car's not, but we are.
I liked how he said inopportune time. Not that there's ever a good time to have his left front tire go down on you, but boy, that was quite possibly one of the worst sections of this racetrack that could happen.
Because as we talked about earlier, such a fast part of the racetrack, and we're going to go back racing here finally after this delay. Second delay of the race.
Little Trees 150 back underway. Dale Quarterly in the lead, maybe. He almost gets spun around.
Brad Layton in the 55 got into the back of him.
Quarterly was coming up the inside going for the lead. And boy, Layton just got him. That's Mike Olson storming off for Little Trees number 61. Kovalek's in the 40 now. He's working the backside of Layton's 55.
But even after the problem in turn one, look at the distance Quarterly has already put on Brad Layton. I mean, he has such a good race car.
And he's filling up the mirrors to the number 96 of Mike Johnson right now. Oh yeah, he got through the S's so well, the chicane there so well, did Dale Quarterly. Made up a lot of ground on Johnson.
I think right now Quarterly is much quicker than the 96 car Johnson, but we still have plenty of racing to go. He just needs to pick and choose. Looks like turn 10 may be where he picks to try to go by Johnson, but Johnson in the 96 slams the door, uses up that racetrack. He broke momentum. I'd say Quarterly going past him on the outside here on turn 11.
Not an easy spot to get a pass completed.
Not at all.
Quarterly, a man on the middle. Well, Johnson's going to get freight trained now. Look at that. Everybody going by. Lane, Kovalek. and, of course, Dale Quarterly. So now Quarterly will set sail after Mike Olson. And I think by the time they get back to the chicane, he's going to chew up quite a bit of pavement.
He's been definitely handling as well down the straightaways as he has through the corners. But, you know, I say that, how you get off of a corner, how you get off that last corner of the S, it can help your speed down that back straightaway so much. Michael Johnson in the 96 car is Andy Santerre, and the 44 is working on him. Michael won the race at Scarborough, Maine a couple of months ago. 1 win this year.
He seems to be losing speed here. He falls back into different packs and starts to hold them up a little bit. These next 3 cars all seem to be quicker than he is right now.
Yeah, he's definitely holding this group up here right now, but it's just so hard to pass. That's the reason track position is so important.
This red flag helped out Wolf. He's now back into the thick of things here a little bit.
he definitely he didn't need someone to have a problem as bad as Dennis Demers did, but he definitely needed a couple of cautions to make up some ground. We got a pass for the lead here, place where he's been most of the day. Dale Quarterly in the 32 car. He goes by Mike Olson, takes the lead. Top 4 has really put some distance back on 5th place.
He accomplished all that in 1 lap, did Dale Quarterly. Ran him down and passed him.
Still have a lot of racing to go, but if he don't have a problem and he don't make any mistakes himself, like overdrive his race car and get off the racetrack, he's going to be tough to handle.
So now Brad Layton in the blue and white 55 is going to try to catch up to Olson and see if he can do something with it.
You know, we talked about most of these guys not really making a living doing this. Brad Layton, as he looks to the inside of Olson, Brad Layton, he makes his living cleaning and maintaining large drainage systems for some of the big ski resorts up in the New England area.
The driver of the Vernon Boilers Chevrolet out of Center Harbor, New Hampshire. Running in 3rd. Taking a shot at 2nd, up the inside, down into turn 1. Got it.
That's the perfect way to pass, especially getting into turn 1. Move to the inside and just outbrake them. Not overdrive, but just outdrive them down into turn 1 just a little bit and take that inside position. They're at your mercy then. There's nothing they can do about it.
Now Olson sees Matt Kobolek in the rearview mirror. Kobolek's coming hard. He's thinking about the inside going to the chicane. Can't get that done.
Olson shuts the door there, gets that inside line. Olson just can't, his car, it seems like it's not turning very good on the exit of the corners.
Here comes another long straightaway. We've seen some passes at the end of this one. Kobolek inside.
Take that position away. If he can outbrake him right there, nothing he can do. Olson was at his mercy just as he was a while ago to Brad Layton. You know, the thing I want to mention as we look at Olson in the 61 car, he was the car that pitted back on lap 14. I still question, can he go the distance without pitting again? The only thing he may have going in his favor is if we have enough caution laps to make up that difference. As I mentioned also earlier, 2 caution laps equal about 1 green flag lap as far as the amount of fuel you use.
Tires maybe a little used up as well?
Well, like, again, just talking with a lot of the crew chiefs and drivers this morning, yeah, fresh tires are definitely going to be better, but it's not a big difference in tires from about lap 14 to what you would maybe at lap 25.
Mike Johnson in the 96 has been doing everything he can to keep that Johnson Lumber Ford into a high top 10 position. He's got 8th right now, but Brian Wall is running him down. And Wall gets inside going to the chicane, skips over the curbing, and takes a spot. Oh, and Johnson has big problems as Bennett gets into the back of him.
Johnson in the 96 car, he definitely has his hands full with that race car.
And there's a 45 of Hoare looking inside. Oh, smoke out of the back of that car.
Yeah, I think what what that was, I think that might have been brake smoke. He smoked the tires getting into the corner, overdrove the entrance of that corner.
Look at the 78 slide the rear end around too. Rick Bell coming off the last corner. Now he moves inside. Whoa, we got one off. Bill Penfold spins at turn 1.
We stayed green, no caution. Bill Penfold. I talked to him this morning. First time I've ever met him. He has to be the most colorful driver I have ever met in my life. I don't know if anybody enjoys life as much as Bill Penfold. And asked about 24 questions at the drivers' meeting. But it's almost like the officials were expecting it. They said he always makes our drivers' meeting interesting.
Well, it made turn 1 pretty interesting for a few minutes. There's your top 3. Kovaluk in the 40 is in 3rd. Layton is in 2nd, just in front of him. And then the yellow car off into the distance is your race leader, Dale Quarterly. So Quarterly continues to lead. NASCAR Touring Division action. The NASCAR Busch North Series here on Speed Channel today.
Acura MDX with available navigation system and off-road tracking.
Over 40 gold and platinum albums. 120 million albums sold. 35 years of Chicago. The very best of Chicago. Only the beginning. America's greatest rock band presents 39 unforgettable hits. This 2-CD collection includes the hits You're the Inspiration, If You Leave Me Now, Saturday in the Park, Old Days, Will You Still Love Me, Hard Habit to Break, and many more. The very best of Chicago. 39 hits. The only collection spanning their entire 35-year career. Digitally remastered for the first time ever. Just $24.98 for 2 CDs or 2 cassettes plus $4.95 shipping and handling. Call now and get this Chicago poster free with your paid order. The very best of Chicago. Also features 25 or 6 to 4. Just you and me.
You are my love and my life.
Baby, what a big surprise. And much more.
Baby, what a big surprise.
Experience the magic, the music, and the legend. The very best of Chicago. See Chicago on tour now. To order the very best of Chicago, only the beginning. Call the number on your screen or send $24.98 for 2 CDs or 2 cassettes plus $4.95 shipping and handling to the address shown. Call now. Rush delivery available.
Welcome back to Watkins Glen International Raceway, NASCAR's Busch North Series, along with Larry McReynolds and Matt Yoakum. I'm Ralph Sheheen. That 96 car of Johnson has been slipping a little bit here lately. Mike Johnson. Oh, and look at this. Dale Shaw, who had to fire earlier, back on pit road.
Yeah, I mean, he's several laps down, and all they're trying to do is just nurse his thing and make it where he can make it to the end without having another problem. But definitely that fire, and you mentioned it earlier, Ralph, no telling what all it burned up under that hood. That was a pretty good-sized fire.
Looks like Craig Schaefer's 99. There's Johnson. Well, Larry, we've had a couple of yellows and 2 red flag scenarios. How is that going to affect the late stages of this race?
Well, I don't know that it really will. Again, I go back and I question people like maybe Mike Olson in the 61 car, you know, pitting early as lap 14. And I know we keep talking about that, but I think that's a big issue. We pretty much know that Quarterly and Layton and Kovaluk, those guys can make it to the end, but some of these guys that pitted well before lap 20, I question, are they going to have to make another pit stop?
There's Hoare in the 45, and he's got Craig Schaefer in Hatboro, Pennsylvania, the right way electric Chevy, and blue 99 closing in. Santerre inside of Olsen going into the chicane. No.
Olsen shuts the doors. They enter the bus stop inner loop. You just have to be so careful there because, I mean, you're making 4 corners just, I mean, in about 2 or 3 seconds time. So you just have to be careful that the guy don't shut the door on you and pinch you off.